This is exactly how I blew up my shoulders fast after struggling for years. In this video, I'll teach you how to blow up your shoulders fast from stick to tick without wasting months of trial and failure and without complicated stuff. Here's what we're going to cover today. Number one, analysis, shoulder secrets, exercises to avoid, exercises to blow up your shoulders. At the end, the growing shoulders protocol, which is basically the plan that you're going to follow for the next couple of months, and a cool bonus at the end. But why should you listen to me first? I started my journey back in 2020 as a skinny, weak, and insecure teen. As you can see, with just a pair of dumbbells, I didn't have any idea what to do. But I dedicated my life to the gym for 5 years, full of mistakes, with no excuses, and I gained a good amount of muscle mass without getting fat, naturally, and I can help you do the same. As you can see, this is me now. Alright, let's start with the analysis. The reason for that is we want to first see if you really need to change something. The first question that you need to ask yourself is, do you really need to change something? It can be the case where you do everything right, but you just don't gain muscle mass as fast as you want or as fast as you would like. And as I said, it can be the case that you just do everything right and you just need to give it some time to see some growth, all right? But that's a little bit hard to figure out, all right? You have two options. You can just do everything that you do right now. You don't know if it's good or wrong, but you need to wait a couple of months. This is exactly how I did it. You wait a couple of months, you do this for a couple of months, and then at the end of this, you see, okay, what did I do good? What did I do wrong? But the problem with that, it takes a lot of time, right? But for that reason, I have a checklist for you to find out right now if you do everything right or not. So I don't want you to waste months of trial and failure like me, and you're going to find out right now. This is the checklist for you. Number one, do you train your shoulders? More specifically, your lateral deltoid, but we're going to talk about that in a few seconds. At least twice per week. Number two, do you eat enough protein, which is roughly your body weight in pounds, or your body weight times 0.8 to be more specific. Do you eat enough calories, which would be, let's say if you're skinny like in the first photo right here, to gain about a half a pound per week? Are you doing the most effective exercises? Now, there are two options here. You either answer it by yes to all the questions. In that case, you do everything right, keep going, wait a couple of months, you will see some growth. And if you don't gain as much muscle as you want, is just because maybe your genetics are a bit suboptimal, let's say, right? You just need to wait a little bit longer. Now, if you answered not sure, don't know, no, then keep watching this video because I'll check all these boxes for you in just a couple of minutes. I think 10 minutes is gonna take this video or so. Now let's go over the shoulder secrets. The number one thing that you need to do right now is to stop listening to all the advice you see on internet because many people don't know what they're talking about, all right? I'll break it down in very, very simple terms. When we talk about the shoulder, when we train our shoulders, we talk about the deltoid muscle, right? Which is basically the shoulder, right? The shoulder that all the people talk about, which you train your shoulder, you train your shoulder. That we talk about the deltoid muscle, all right? Now, this muscle has three segments: the posterior, middle, and anterior fibers. I have a couple of photos here so you can understand. Now let's look at this photo in the middle. This is the lateral view of the deltoid muscle, and this is basically how you would look at someone from the side. So if I stand like this, this is the picture right here. Now I highlighted these fibers so you can better understand, all right? The posterior fibers are these with yellow, which are in the back, all right? In the back, the posterior, the back. Then we got the middle on the side, the middle fibers right here, which is this muscle. Basically, we want to grow this muscle, and everyone is talking about do lateral raises, lateral raises, lateral raises. This is what they're talking about to grow this muscle, but it's basically the middle fibers of the deltoid muscle. And then we've got the anterior fibers, which are those in the front, all right? And you can see those in my photo, right? In my photo here. You can see I highlighted those here. And this is basically the muscle, how it looks. Now, all of these fibers posterior, middle, anterior, are responsible for abduction or abduction. Abduction is basically bringing your arms away from your body. So it's basically this movement, the lateral raises that you see all over the internet. Yes, all of these fibers are responsible for this movement. All right. It's true that maybe, let's say, the majority of the movement it's made by the middle fibers, but the posterior and anterior fibers are also contributing this movement. Now, the posterior fibers get some work, some additional work from the back workout that you do, especially from the rows, all right? Especially from the wide grip rows. Now, the fibers from the front get some additional work from your chest workout, all right? When you push, then you work some of your anterior fibers. That means that our focus should be mainly on the middle fibers, all right? You can still do some specific work for the posterior and anterior fibers, but most of the work should be on the middle fibers. As on the back workout, you work a bit of the posterior fibers, and then when you do your chest, you train a bit of the anterior fibers. Now you need some isolation, let's call it, for the middle fibers, all right? The exercises to avoid. I'm going to go over this very fast. Stay away from any combination of 2 or more exercises all in one. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you have shoulder press, then you do bicep, then lateral, then front, or whatever. Stay away from those. When you do an exercise, you do one exercise. You don't combine them with 3 different ways or 3 different muscles, all right? And stay away from any kind of front raises. The reason it's the same. When you do your chest workout, you train a lot of your anterior fibers. So there's no reason to do more isolation for those, all right? Exercise to blow up your shoulders. This is exactly what you need to do. In terms of exercise selection, less is more in this case. You can have 3 most effective shoulder builder exercises and do a rotation for variety throughout the week. Now focus on these exercises in this order. Number 1 you should focus on is lateral raises. Now, the best one, it should be a machine, all right? If your gym has a machine for the lateral raises, choose one, very good exercise. The next best option, it would be seated with dumbbells. So you do seated on a bench and you do lateral raises with dumbbells. Why not standing? Well, in my experience, when I do lateral raises standing, I feel a lot my traps and not my shoulders. But when I do them sitting on a bench, I feel only my shoulders. So try that. And then the last one, it would be some cable work, all right? Very good exercise, is going to keep the tension throughout all the movement. Now, number 2 exercise, reverse pec deck. You can do that with the reverse pec deck, all right? With the pec deck machine, or you can do with cables, all right? These ones, or face pulls, I think. And then with dumbbells, of course, you lay down on a bench and then you do these reverse flies. And the third one is shoulder press, but with a machine. As we don't want to focus a lot on the front fibers, the front shoulder, just use a machine, go slow, and don't use a lot of weight. All right, the growing shoulders plan. This is the plan that you're going to follow. You're going to train your lateral delts, which is the middle fibers, 3 times a week. You're going to sleep well. That means that after you wake up, you should feel well rested. All right, and pick the number of hours of sleep that give you the most energy throughout the day. And then number 3, you're going to eat enough protein, which, let's say, to stay safe, body weight in pounds, you make sure you eat enough protein, and then you make sure you eat enough calories, which if you're skinny, it should be enough calories to gain half a pound per week. This is what you're going to do in the workouts. On Monday, or any other days, but make sure you have at least 1 day of rest between the working days. So Monday, let's say for this example, you're gonna start to do lateral raises with the machine, if it's possible, 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Then reverse pec deck 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps. You rest 1 day, and then the next day you do lateral raises again, but with dumbbells. You switch a bit, the angles a bit, and then you do 2 sets, 10 to 15, and then you're gonna do shoulder press machine, 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps, and then you rest 1 day. Then you go ahead and hit the shoulders again, lateral raises, but with cables this time, 2 sets, 15 to 20 reps, and then reverse pec deck, 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Now, you can choose any days that you want, but make sure you have at least one rest day between the workout days. And then you can integrate this into your own routine that you have right now. But here's the thing. If you want to focus on your shoulders and grow your shoulders, you want to start with these exercises first. So the first exercise that you're going to do are going to be the lateral raises, are going to be the reverse pec deck, are going to be the shoulder press, right? And then after that, you're gonna do your chest, your triceps, your biceps, whatever you want to do, your back. The problem with that you're going to experience for sure is that you're gonna find out that when you first do your lateral raises and then you go ahead and do, let's say, incline dumbbell press, you're gonna feel that you are not so strong, you don't have a lot of stability, you cannot push that harder, in other words. And that's the downside of doing this, on focusing on shoulders. But the good news is that maybe you have a good chest right now and you want to focus on your shoulders, and you do this for a couple of months, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, but then your shoulders are very big, very good, very defined, and then you can focus again on chest or on other muscles that you want. Now, if you liked this video, the full program is in the description. It's going to show you exactly how to go from stick to thick, plus you get the exact workout program that got me jacked, plus a bunch of bonus